For what purpose does the gentleman from Alaska seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I move to suspend the rules and pass H.R. 219.
The clerk will report the title of the bill.
Union Calendar Number 397, H.R. 219, a bill to correct the Swan Lake Hydroelectric Project survey boundary and to provide for the conveyance of the remaining tract of land within the corrected survey boundary to the state of Alaska.
Pursuant to the rule, the gentleman from Alaska, Mr. Young, and the gentleman from Hawaii, Ms. Hanabusa, each will control 20 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Alaska.
I ask unanimous consent that all members have 5 legislative days to revive and extend their remarks and include extemporaneous materials on the bill in consideration.
Without objection.
Mr. Speaker, I yield myself such time as I may consume. First, let me thank my good friend from Hawaii, Ms. Hanabusa, for coming over here to help manage the bill. It was an imposition, but thank you. It means a great deal to me. Mr. Speaker, the Swan Lake Hydroelectric Project is a remote facility in southeast Alaska that provides electric power to nearly 20,000 of my constituents in the cities of Petersburg, Wrangell, Ketchikan, and the smaller surrounding areas. In 1994, the project's operator began work to raise the height of the dam by 15 feet, working with the state of Alaska to secure 1,500 acres of land from the federal government inside the reservoir's new coverage area. The land was surveyed by the federal government and was transferred to the state of Alaska in 1997. In 2012, the project operator discovered an error in the federal government survey and determined an additional 25.8 acres of federal land would have to be covered with water if the level was raised. There's no difference of agreement among the federal and state agencies concerning this error and how it occurred. H.R. 219 will fix the error by requiring the Secretary of Interior to correct the survey and transfer the remaining acreage to the state of Alaska. This is a common sense bill that promotes green energy and development at zero cost to the federal government. I urge the adoption of the measure and reserve the balance of my time.
The gentleman reserves. The gentlewoman from Hawaii is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I yield myself such time as I may consume.
The gentlelady is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is always an honor to share the floor with my good friend from Alaska. H.R. 219 instructs the Secretary of Interior, after consulting with the Forest Service, to resurvey the Lost Creek section and other additional lands by the Swan Lake Hydroelectric Facility so the Interior Department can modify the boundary and convey land necessary for the facility's expansion. The Swan Lake Hydroelectric Facility is a tall concrete arch dam at the head of the Carroll Inlet. The project was authorized by FERC and operation began in 1984. It is currently operated by a not-for-profit Alaskan joint action agency called the Southeast Alaska Power Agency. These utilities provide an estimated 62% of the power consumed by the community. Expansion project contained a mistake and omitted the Lost Creek section and other additional areas. More land, however, needs to be conveyed to the state of Alaska to utilize the additional reservoir storage from the recently finished expansion project. Because this bill corrects that mistake, conveys needed lands for the facility expansion, and was supported by the U.S. Forest Service, I urge my colleagues to support this bill. And Mr. Speaker, I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Alaska is recognized.
I have no more other speakers, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, the gentleman reserves. Gentlelady from Hawaii is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I will close. I believe that given the nature of this bill, and we all know that when it comes to Alaska, no one is better an advocate and the strongest proponent of what is right for the state of Alaska than my good friend, the representative from Alaska. And this is a bill that corrects that mistake, and it conveys the needed land for the facility expansion, and it is supported by all the necessary federal agencies. And for that reason, I urge my colleagues to support the bill, and I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentlelady yields. The gentleman from Alaska is recognized.